Game 4, Grizzlies versus the Timberwolves. Now, I'll be completely honest with you. I did not watch the whole game, but I strictly watched like the fourth quarter, and I kind of watched some highlights to kind of, help me make this video. So, this video is going to be kind of like a little challenge for me of, trying to cover a game without, watching the whole entire game. But basically, this was another pretty good game, and the Wolves actually won this game, so thankfully it's tied 2-2, and it's probably going to be a pretty hard-fought series, like one of the best series in a while, like the second seed and the seventh seed. Like, so basically, from the highlights what I've seen, the first half, the Wolves kind of had more of the control, and then third quarter it was still like the Wolves kind of had more control, and then it was like they're leading by 10 points. And then it was always a close game. It was never really a blowout. But then fourth quarter is when the Grizzlies gained a bit more of a momentum, but ultimately the Minnesota Timberwolves finally pulled it off. It was by 1 point, but hey, a dub is a dub. Like it's pretty like it finally they finally pulled it off. It's tied 2-2 series, so yeah, essentially a hard fought series, and it's pretty funny to see John Morant's dad and Karl Anthony Towns that just sit courtside with each other. It's pretty funny. They just need to have a game of just them being the commentators, because that would just be pretty entertaining. So first off, let's go player by player. So we're gonna start with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So first off, Karl Anthony Towns. After a lot of these rough games he's been having, like last game when he scored not even as double digits, he finally did pretty well. Well, he scored 33 points, which is pretty solid. He got a lot of the points from the free throws, however, but I mean, he did, help the Wolves win the game, and he got 13 rebounds, which is pretty good for Cat. He was actually finally getting it to the basket, and he was actually showing that he's a pretty good 3-point shooter, since he was I believe went 3 for 5 from the three, and he was 8 for 17 from the field goal. So Carney Towns considering now notice that I watched him more, he's kind of more of a guard that is in a big man's body. He's not the type who kind of does the traditional big man stuff at all. I mean, no big is a traditional big. Of course they all space the floor, but Cat, he's not. You can tell him going inside the paint is just not really his things. There are lots of moments when he would struggle posting up. When he would get to the basket, it's more kind of like a euro, which was, I mean, nothing wrong with that. Glad for Conley Towns, he actually pulled it off in this game, and he actually bounced back in against all the haters, because Cat was getting a lot of the flack. He was getting a lot of flack, so pretty good for Cat to get a good bounce back. So shout out to Cat for showing out. Good dude, been through a lot of stuff, and he did his thing. Next one, D'Angelo Russell. He went pretty cold for tonight. He was 3 for 12. D'Angelo, I know it's the big weakness with him is he's fairly he has a swing factors. He has his really good nights, but then he would have his cold nights. From what I've kind of seen from a little bit more of the Wolves games, because one of these nights he was actually playing good. Then the other nights he played pretty off. And this game he played pretty off. He was 3 for 12. 3 for 12 from the three, which is, I mean, not from the three, from the field goal in general. And it's it's not, definitely need to step that up. And considering that, D'Lo job is to get buckets, and 3 for 12 is not, not the type of field goal you want to have. But thankfully for D'Lo, the Wolves won the game, so he wouldn't really have to hear too much of the slander. So that's that. So hopefully for D'Lo, he will get more consistent. And then Pat Bev, we all know what Pat Bev does. He doesn't really like, you know, stat sheet's not the most prettiest, but he actually outscored John Moran, which is that's actually pretty solid. He did miss two key free throws, but luckily for Pat Bev, the Wolves won the game. If anything, this was the game that some of the Wolves players, they kind of dodged some bullets. Imagine if the Grizzlies took the W, like Edwards, and a little bit of Pat Bev would have kind of got some flack just because he missed two free throws. But it happens. Like it definitely happened to our boy Paul George. But Pat Bev, he just did his thing. Typical Pat Bev. Played pretty good defense. You know just did his typical thing. And then Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards, he's showing that he's definitely going to be a premier all-star, maybe even superstar, honestly, because he's a really strong body. He can shoot the ball. He may be kind of streaky in the past, but now he's getting more consistent, that's a really good improvement. He was getting all the buckets. He was 7 from 14 from the three. Scored I don't remember the exact stat line, but definitely over 30 points. He was definitely getting to the baskets. He got that one nice, pretty good dunk in the, I believe, first or second quarter. Just had a nice, great slam dunk. He just did his thing. Really strong, broad football body. And then to the bench, the bench didn't really do too much, but I mean, McLaughlin, I think, that dude was solid. He got some key steals and just some basic baskets. And I keep forgetting the other, like, the Minnesota Timberwolves starter. I just, I think, Vanderbilt. Oh, Jared Vanderbilt, yeah. Did solid, just get some, layups and baskets. Just did his job. Like, nothing, too fancy, but just essentially, did his thing. Jaden McDaniels, this time he was actually off compared to the other games when he was actually pretty solid, a pretty good, solid power forward. But yeah, essentially the bench was, they didn't really do so much, but it was essentially mainly the starters doing the work, and they ultimately did the job. And the Timberwolves coach finally called a timeout when the Memphis Grizzlies was actually climbing up. Like the Wolves coach, I think Finch should have called a timeout last game, but I do not know what was he thinking, because boy, that was a big lead that the Wolves blew. But fortunately for the Wolves, they did not blow the lead, and they actually tied up this series. And this is going to be a pretty good series. This will be a pretty good series, and hopefully it goes to Game 7. Or the Wolves pull it off, because, since my Clippers got bounced, so I guess I may be a temporary Wolves fan. So I guess you could say that. But anyways, going to the Memphis Grizzlies. So John Morant, he did not have the best offensive night. His shooting night was just not pretty. He was the last time on ESPN showed a stat, he was a whopping 3 for 9, that's actually pretty horrendous. 30% from the field goal, which is it was pretty brutal. All right, pretty brutal. But I guess he got 15 assists, so that made up for it. Got some rebounds as well too. But John Morant, he had a lot of moments when, especially even last game too, he was pretty off on the offenses as well. But his playmaking was pretty good. So, but yeah, like definitely for Ja, he needs to get the offense. He needs to get some buckets too to be considered as the ultimate superstar. But I mean with Ja, he contributes in other things. But again, 3 for 10, which is not the prettiest, but you never know what's gonna happen like the next game. But yeah, like 3 for 10, which is not the best. But anyways, other players. Let's see. Dylan Brooks. He was actually pretty good this game. Like he actually had, especially in the fourth quarter, he had a lot of clutch shots. He had I believe 24 points. Like especially the clutch shots, like the last 2 minutes, he hit like a key three that kind of made him down. He cut the lead short, and then he hit like another key three that also cut the lead short, and then, but he was not good enough, but he was actually pretty good. Like he actually 3 for 4 from the three, and I forgot his main field goal stats, but he was getting buckets. Like I believe compared to the other games, and then like Jaren Jackson Jr. He didn't really do too much other than play pretty solid defense, pretty athletic, pretty solid defender. He got fouled out quickly, so maybe that's why the Grizzlies probably lost, because they probably missed out on some rim protections that could have maybe potentially make Karl Anthony Towns struggle, but yeah, he got fouled out pretty quick in the mid fourth quarter, but he wasn't doing too much in the field goal. Xavier Tillman, he was he didn't really do anything too much, respectfully. He didn't really do too much. Desmond Bain, fat shout out to him. He was throughout the whole entire Memphis Grizzlies, Desmond Bain was actually killing it. He was he's just a elite 3-point shooter. He went for a whopping 8 for 12 from a three, that is insane. That is pure insanity. And his ultimate field goal was 11 for 18, but he went 8 for 12 from the 3-point line, that's actually insane. Bain is he's definitely going to be pretty key for the Memphis Grizzlies' future, and he's definitely the perfect help that Ja Morant will have. Because Bain, he has a really strong frame, and he's an elite shooter, and he has some good athleticism as well too. But his shooting it was just top notch. Honestly, call me crazy, I think Desmond Bain could kind of somewhat fit into that Klay Thompson role for the Memphis Grizzlies, because that dude is nothing but a sniper, bro. He's just an ultimate sniper. Dude has been killing it. Dude has been killing it. And then you got Brandon Clark, who's a really great wing defender. Not the best, not the offensive guy. He didn't really make any threes, but he is a great defender and got some shot some slashing abilities. A really great 3-and-D defender. Also pretty young as well too. You got I believe I forgot the other dude's name, but is either Ford or Jones. But yeah, I think I want to say Jones. Yeah, Jones was also sniping as well too, but during crunch time, he did miss that one key three that could have potentially that would have a butterfly. It's like a butterfly effect top shot. If he made it, the Grizzlies would have won, and Desmond Bain shot would have been a buzzer beater, because Bain did hit that long shot, but unfortunately for the Grizzlies, it was 119, 115, and Bain hit the shot, so it's 119, 118 rather than just 118, 118. Then it would have been an overtime, but it was a pretty hard fought game in general. Both sides was playing pretty good defense, and like it was just a pretty fun game to watch. Like this is honestly like a pretty fun, straight up like a pretty fun series in general. So I mean, honestly, there's nothing really like too much I can say, um, but like basically the Wolves like their firepower is at their like at their starters, but like their bench is like Jaden McDaniels is usually pretty good, but he's off. But I mean, like yeah, like the Wolves like, is kind of like relying on the starters, while the Grizzlies um, it's more like kind of like a team oriented top side of the spectrum. Like you got John Morant, who's like considered as a premier superstar, but he's having some playoff struggles. You got Bain, who's like an elite sniper. Jaren Jackson Jr., who's a solid power forward center. Xavier Tillman is just a role playing starting center. Dylan Brooks, a pretty good wing. And you got the bench like Brandon Clark, who plays great defense, and you got D'Anthony Melton, a solid backup point guard. Um, but yeah, like it's a pretty fun series in general. So like, there's nothing else I can really say. So just let me know what you think about the game in general if you guys managed to catch it, and be sure to leave a comment down below and just let me know what you think. And yeah, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and as y'all know, have a great night, everybody. If you're watching at night, or have a good day if you're watching it at day. Peace.